Hello, don't mind me. I was just pondering the profound, silent potential of it all. This object, in its current state, is rather dull, but connect it to the right infrastructure, feed it the necessary power, and it can, quite literally, change the world. Or at least a small room, and that, you magnificent constellations of carbon, is precisely the theme for this week's scientific roundup. Not every week brings a thunderclap, a Eureka, that echoes through the halls of history. Some weeks are quieter. They are the weeks of the bricklayer, not the architect. The weeks of maturation, of convergence. The weeks where the future isn't announced with a bang, but with the quiet, persistent hum of the infrastructure being switched on. Let's begin with the elephant in the quantum server room. There was no single earth-shattering quantum AI paper this past week. The most significant recent breakthrough, the one that still has physicists quietly buzzing, was actually published back in June. A team writing in Nature Photonics demonstrated a quantum machine learning algorithm that outpaced a classical supercomputer using just 2 photons. 2. Let that sink in. It's not about brute force, it's not about building a bigger engine, it's like winning a Formula One race with a ridiculously well-designed lawnmower. It's about the sublime elegance of the quantum realm. What we're seeing now this week is the next logical step. The focus is on integration, hybrid systems. Quantum processors are being tested not as the hero of the story, but as the fantastically clever sidekick, the Q to classical AI's James Bond, providing the specialized, almost magical gadgets needed to solve very specific problems. We're in the scaffolding phase, building the framework upon which the quantum cathedral will one day stand. And speaking of scaffolding, while one group of scientists is building it for abstract computation, another is building it for the very fabric of our being. This is where the week gets truly interesting. This is the convergence. First, we have the widely reported development of night vision contact lenses. Yes, you heard that correctly. The ability to see in the infrared spectrum, not with bulky comical goggles, but with a thin lens placed directly on your eye. Finally, the universe is delivering on the promises made by cheap 80s action films. This isn't just a gadget, it's a triumph of material science and photonics, a direct interface between advanced technology and human biology. And then, it gets even more profound. Researchers at the University of Minnesota have developed a 3D printed scaffold that can guide stem cells to repair a severed spinal cord. They demonstrated it in rats, restoring movement to the paralyzed. It's a bioprinter acting as a neural cartographer, laying down the path for the body to rebuild itself. Do you see the pattern? In the same breath, we are discussing augmenting our senses to see the invisible and rebuilding our central nervous system to restore the irreplaceable. We are hacking the human machine, editing and upgrading the hardware we were born with. One technology is about processing external information in a new way. The other is about restoring the body's own internal information pathways. It's the same project, really, just at different ends of the wire. Of course, none of this magnificent biological hacking or quantum dreaming is possible without the boring, unglamorous, and utterly vital work of infrastructure. And this week was a banner week for the unsung heroes of progress. My personal favorite paper. A delightful piece from Scientific Reports on the thermal dynamics of soil surrounding ultra-high voltage power cables. Yes, scientific analysis of warm dirt. Sounds thrilling, doesn't it? But without that research, the clean energy grid can't be safely automated or optimized. Without that knowledge, your shiny new electric car is just a very expensive paperweight, and our fusion-powered future remains a fantasy. And the hits just kept on coming. We got the sharpest ever images of the sun's coronal loops. New holiday snaps from our local star in ultra-high-def. Chemists in a lab managed to crack a carbon-nitrogen bond that was more stubborn than a mule in a tar pit, which promises to make drug development faster and cheaper. A tiny iron catalyst was found that could replace eye-wateringly expensive platinum in hydrogen fuel cells. Sometimes the solution isn't exotic, it's just rust, but a very, very clever version of it. And to top it all off, a new sponge-like reactor design has actually boosted fusion yields. A sponge for a star. The absurdity is just magnificent. So you see, there was no single headline this week. There was something much more important, a story of maturation. The quantum algorithms of a few months ago are informing the hybrid systems of today. These systems will be built with materials discovered this week, powered by fusion reactors based on sponge designs, and connected by a grid that works because someone studied warm dirt. And all of this relentless progress is ultimately aimed at augmenting and repairing the very creatures dreaming it all up. The ones who will soon be able to see in the dark and perhaps one day walk again. The future, it turns out, isn't an explosion. It's a tide, slowly and relentlessly rising on all shores at once. Do the whole like, subscribe, and ring the little bell of quiet contemplation. Let me know in the comments which piece of this grand puzzle fascinates you the most. Until next time, stay curious.